Hello and welcome back to the Buckle Up channel. My name's Rob Wilson and this is the Fiat 500. So let's start with the elephant in the room, shall we? This car is not aimed at me, obviously. It's quite clearly predominantly aimed at young girls who've just passed the driving test, probably have a small dog of some sort, and definitely have some questionable tweets on their Twitter account. But is that all this car is? Well, to find out, I'm going to forget all the preconceptions I have about the car, and mainly the people who drive them, and assess it purely on its merits and the not so good things.
But first, a bit of history. In the 1950s, following a slight scuffle in Europe, a lot of countries were a bit cash-strapped. One of them was Italy, and Fiat, its biggest car maker, decided that what people really needed was a small and very cheap motor car. And so, the 500 was born. Costing just 490,000 lira, or about £7,000 in today's money, it was certainly cheap, and at around 3 metres in length, it was definitely small. It was also incredibly popular, and Fiat managed to sell around 4 million of them over a 20-year period.
Fast forward to 2007 and Fiat decides to bring the 500 nameplate back, and this is the result. Well, not this exact one, because this has been facelifted and it's been out for about 13 years now, but you get what I mean. And while we're outside, why not talk about styling? Now, a lot of things have been said about how the new 500 looks, but I happen to think that Fiat have done a pretty good job. It strikes a nice balance between modern and retro, and I actually think that Fiat have done a better job than BMW did when they reinvented the Mini in 2001. Controversial, I know, but I'm allowed an opinion. On the inside then, as I mentioned before, this car has had the facelift, although this is where the Fiat 500 starts to look a little long in the tooth compared to its rivals. There are a couple of cup holders up front for your iced frappe things, and you can connect your phone up via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, although we all know you've got an iPhone. However, there are a lot of hard and scratchy plastics about the place, and the dashboard looks like it's been laid out by a 4-year-old. Oh, and this faux metal trim, you know your wheelie bin? That's where that's from. I suppose it's quite Italian in that respect. I mean, look at this for example. The height adjustment for the seat is right next to where the handbrake is. Who thought that was a good idea? Here's another thing. Now I know most people who drive these are 5'4" with size 5 feet, but if you're not, and worse, like me, are over 6 foot tall, this seat is terrible. It's far too high, the positioning is all wrong. There also isn't anywhere substantial for my foot to rest when it's not on the clutch pedal, which is really annoying, and don't even get me started on the back seats. Allow me to demonstrate. Okay, so seat back. Okay, so my right. Oh Jesus. So as you can see, my knees don't fit behind my driving position, so I'd have to sit a little bit strangely like this. Also, headroom's good as well. Lots of room in the back for adults. Do you know what? I've never been in solitary confinement, but I can't imagine that it's any worse than sitting in the back of this thing for 15 minutes. I really can't recommend that people over 5 foot tall sit in the back, or those of us lucky enough to have legs. Please, let me out. The boot is actually reasonably big considering how small the back seats were, and because this is the lounge model, these back seats do fold down, he says, without being able to fold down the back seats. Where's the thing? And they fold down split as well. And then once you get rid of the world's smallest parcel shelf, there's enough room in there for 3 of those little weird poke things. Although, let's be honest, they're probably going to be riding up front, aren't they? The only thing I would say is when those back seats are down, and because there's no floor divider, if you're wanting to push items all the way to the back, there is quite a sizable hill to get over in the middle. I know Harry doesn't like those floor dividers, but I'm sorry, on this occasion you're just wrong. And anyway, are you really going to listen to a man that likes pickups? Didn't think so. So, what's it like out on the open road then? Well, it's alright. Oh, you want a bit more information? Well, it's a small Italian city car, so it's definitely more at home in a town. Although, I'm on a slightly twisty country road now, and it's actually quite good fun. The steering doesn't have that much in the way of feel, but what cars in this class do? The 1.2 4-cylinder engine that I have in this particular car has a mighty 69 horsepower. Nice. And those horses can drag the Fiat from 0 to 60 in 12.9 seconds and onto a top speed of 101 miles an hour. So, it's not exactly going to set your pants on fire, but if you're after something like that, then you want to go for one of the Abarth versions. The brakes are alright too. Not that much in the way of feel, obviously, but discs at the front, drums at the back, don't feel unsafe. Around town is where this car comes into its own, really. The gear shift is nice, actually feels relatively precise for this sort of car. To aid with town driving, the 500 comes with a city steering button, which I have now activated. What that does is it basically pumps the power steering up to 11, so the steering is unbelievably light. This feature is best demonstrated in a multi-storey car park. I know where I can find one. Let's go in. This city steering is so unbelievably light, as I was saying before. You could do it with one finger, really. It's just... Oh, there's just a skateboarder. Of course there's a skateboarder. Why am I not at all surprised? This is, of course, Darlington. So, here's a parking space. Now, it's so easy to see out of. The mirrors are nice and big. Oh, and as you can probably hear, the lounge has rear parking sensors. And that's parked. And that steering is just unbelievable. It's almost too light. And so you might be sitting at home there thinking, well, that's all lovely, Rob, but how much does it cost? Well, the base pop version costs from about 13,000 and prices go up to around 17,000 depending on what special edition Fiat happen to be doing that particular week. This particular car has the lounge spec and that starts from around £14,750, and to be honest, this is the one I would go for. Seems to have all of the kit that you really need to have on a vehicle of this size. I actually think it's quite good value. But the big question isn't how much it costs, but rather, should you bother buying one at all? Well, I honestly don't think that anything I've got to say is going to stop this car's target market from putting a hold on Daddy's credit card. But for what it's worth, I happen to think this is a cracking little car with bags of character, quirky styling, and most of all, it's fun. And you can't put a price on fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.